Here at Random Encounters, we do a West Marches style game created by Ben Robbins. And the idea behind a West Marches style game is the focus is on exploration. You have a central town that is safe, where most of the dangers are outside of the town. It's also a bit of a metagame style in that players have to organize their own groups and have to give the DM what task, mission, rumor, objective they are setting out for themselves for the session. There is no set game night, so when you have enough players, you have a mission, you have time with the DM, then you play. It's worked wonderfully for us because we deal with a lot of people that have inconsistent scheduling. So we were looking for different nights. We didn't always have the same people. Creating a singular through line where people could enter a dungeon, we rest, we break the game, and then start back up, and suddenly we have different players, is what we were experiencing a lot of, which made the consistency very difficult. So we took this West Marches idea, we morphed it a little bit, and there are some practical changes that I think every West Marches game sort of goes through. One of those is, will your players actually tell you what they're doing ahead of time? No, they won't. They will never tell you what they're doing ahead of time, because as soon as they tell you what they're doing ahead of time and then they come back and you're like, all right, so we're going to the air temple. They're like, yeah, but we forgot the thing and there was something else and we really need somebody to do that. So what if we did not the air temple? And you're going, okay, not the air temple. What do you want to do? And they go, I don't know. And you're like, all right, you look in the book and you're like, I've got 2 other dungeons. What can I have them do? Here are some options. Always have options. That is very important. The other rule that we put in for the West Marches campaign was that they always had to return to town. We kept a live calendar in-game, so travel time to someplace and travel time back was important. Occasionally I would let them set up save points or places that they could set up mini camps at to reduce the travel time. But they always had to end the night away from danger in a place that was safe. And so downtime activities became really important, and those became opportunities for players to, away from the table, create wonderful character arcs and moments, writing letters, engaging in relationships and feuds, founding businesses, taking the opportunity to really shape the world. And that was one of the things I wanted to take advantage of with the West Marches. When we began in Willen, it was literally a blacksmith, a guild hall, and a farm. And it was their responsibility to go out, find gold, find resources, find people to help them, and build a town. And by the end of it, they had battlements and walls and a sea gate, and they built a dump, and nobody realized it for like 6 months in the real world. But it's one of the first things you need as a town, right? You need a place to put all your trash. So they built one of those, and docks were really important, one of the first things, so they could get merchants in, because they had nobody to buy any healing potions or equipment from. All they had was a blacksmith. There was a large investment in doing things that had periphery benefits. For instance, Stone Talon Mountain had within it an ancient dwarven forge, which would help them arm their army. And so while the players themselves may have never benefited from that forge specifically, it gave the town a better resource, gave the town something more to sort of work with and do. For instance, above Willen was a community of lake lords and pirates, and rather than simply murder, hobo, burn them all down, keeping those houses and keeping the resources and the people alive and bringing them into Willen became important. And so it was another motivation for characters to not simply kill everything that they could get their hands on. It brought into contrasts the necessity for politics, rather than me simply saying, as a DM, this is a talkie bit, you're not allowed to kill people. They found their own motivations for not killing people, and then they found their own motivations for killing people, and made those fights and deaths all the more interesting and all the more satisfying. So, to sum up West Marches, you got someplace safe, you got a bunch of places outside that are not safe. People have to tell you what they're doing ahead of time, but they never will. They go out, they have an adventure, they come back. I like to combine it with a kingdom building, Kingmaker from Pathfinder, something along those lines. I like to include a subset of that. Sometimes you want to give them save points. Dungeons become a difficult, not really difficult, an affair where you have to have a living dungeon, right? There's only so many monsters in it, or if they are coming back and being created more of, we need to know why. So it's always good to have checkpoints where things are. I would hide puzzles in certain things with real world brain sort of challenges to get the characters motivated. And then I put a couple of really powerful magical artifacts in there early, so that there was always the tease of coming up with. I would let them roll on that. It's like, I think, magic item I or J table. And during one of the first games, a character rolled a Vorpal sword. And but he could only use rapiers. So I picked out all the blades in the player's handbook, and we rolled a d8, and he ended up picking up a rapier just by the luck of it. And I was like, man, you're really lucky. I don't know why dwarves are forging rapiers, but they decided to give it a try, and it worked out well for you. And some of you just went, rapiers are piercing weapons. They shouldn't be allowed to be Vorpal. Yeah, but sabers you can also cut with. So I'm the GM. So what I like to envision with the stream is it is an episodic TV series that will have through lines and story arcs. So think of it like Doctor Who. Every week they're going on an individual adventure. They may not necessarily be tied together. We may have episodes where there are completely different characters, but those adventures will be contributing to the larger story at hand. In our initial game, it was contributing to the building and defense of Willen. When we come back, the characters get to see where Willen is 10 years later and see how their labors were rewarded and how they were twisted in certain places. So in both games, the Lamplighters and in Disasters and Danger, they will be already parts of organizations with overarching goals, but there will be plenty of opportunities for characters to pursue personal endeavors as well. But we're going to be gathering together different groups every night so that the cast is rotating, but I think you're going to find every cast member and every character brings something special and different to the table. If things go well and we can add more nights for each game, hopefully we'll get to see those characters and players more often. So that's West Marches. If it sounds good to you, like, share, subscribe. Check out the description down below for Twitter, Patreon, all the fun stuff. And we have our first show debuting 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. April 2nd. It's showtime.